Hinamatsuri has special foods that are involved, of course, for it as well. A lot of times you'll see in the stores there's special kinds of traditional old style candies that are crafted to be for Hinamatsuri. The general theme colors are usually pink, green, and white, and there's some kind of like little puff candy, puffed rice kind of treats that are given out. There's also sometimes some more decorative kind of sugars and hard candy, cut hard candy that has little pictures inside. Those are common kinds of things. Little kind of hard candies that look like little balls. All of those are, a big part of the display and the kind of feel for Hinamatsuri. Now, like I said, these are really old style candy, and to be completely honest, they don't have a whole lot of flavor and they're not that good. So a lot of times kids look at them and they look so pretty and they're all excited to eat them, and then they eat them and they're like, ew, this isn't that tasty. But they sometimes are put on display too with the Hina dolls, depending on the kind of treat that it is. Sometimes you'll see dango that's the three colors, some special rice cakes or mochi that are commonly given out at this time too. So those are all part of kind of the sweeter side, the display. Sometimes there's a really sweet kind of sake that you can drink, and there's sort of a really like toned down kids version of that you can sometimes buy in a cute little glass kind of bottle. And again, not very tasty though. We got one for my daughter last year because it had purikir on it, and she was really excited about it, and it was not very tasty, so she was a little disappointed. But those kinds of things are part of the whole celebration, actually. And for dinner, usually you get everybody together, and a common food is to eat sushi, but not just normal sushi. Chirashi sushi is a really popular kind of food for this holiday. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with this kind of sushi. It's a layer of sushi rice. So sushi rice is different from other rice because it has a little bit of sweet vinegar in it. That's what kind of gives it a little bit of edge. So you make that, and then you put a layer of fried egg, but it's been chopped up to look kind of like shredded cheese, to be completely honest, like cheddar cheese. And then on top of that, vegetables, snap peas, those kinds of things. And then maybe some shrimp or some sushi if you want, like strips of, maguro or tuna and salmon. Also, really common is to find fish eggs on top too. So this is all kind of arranged into a little square that almost looks kind of like a cake if you look at it and you're not sure what you're eating, until you cut into it and see that the base is rice. And it's a really delicious way to eat all these things. You eat that all together then. I sometimes do. When I make mine, I do mine in an arrangement to be kind of like a flower with little decorations on it. So there's a lot of different ways you can, of course, set everything up. But that's a big part of Hinamatsuri, is having that kind of chirashi sushi. So if you guys get a chance to ever eat it, I would highly recommend it. It's very tasty. So good way to celebrate, definitely, the day. Another thing that you see that's pretty common is that the different candy companies and snack companies will make these special, edition Hinamatsuri kinds of things. So you can buy, special edition Hinamatsuri potato chips. And the only difference is that the bag might look like a Hina doll or something like that. But the most common one is, because the traditional snack is those kind of puffed rice things I was telling you about. There's a puffed kind of curly kind of sweet snack that's called caramel corn, and it's usually got a caramel flavor or strawberry flavor, and they make a special kind of bag that is honoring, Hinamatsuri at this time of year. So it's a good time to buy cute stuff because, all the character companies do stuff. You can find stuff for Purikyo, you can find stuff for all the Hello Kitty and Sanrio characters all do stuff. They all get dressed up. They all team up with somebody to sit and pose like the Hina dolls. So it's a really cute, fun time to get stuff. Where we live in Nagasaki, there's a special kind of treat that's only found here for Hinamatsuri, and that's kind of taking a play on a very common Nagasaki treat, which is castella. We have so much Dutch influence here because there are so many Dutch immigrants in Nagasaki, and with them they brought castella, which is a kind of cake, and it's very tasty, yellow kind of sponge cake with on top usually has like a a nice kind of level of like crunchy sugar on top. So a really common kind of snack for this time of year is they take that same castella, but they kind of shape it into a heart or what is supposed to be a peach. And I have one here. It's kind of a little smushed, but you can kind of see what it looks like here. It's the cake itself, which is this castella cake, and then on top they do a decoration of a peach, and that is kind of only Nagasaki kind of special treat for Hinamatsuri. And you know, this is just one you can buy at the grocery store, which is totally low end, you know, $2 kind of thing. But then some of the really fancy castella companies that make, you know, the castella that people buy when they come on vacation here, they make them, and they're like $6 or $7 or $8 a piece just for something this big, which is a lot of money. But they frosting, everybody, you know, my kids love. They just eat that, and then I find these, you know, remaining chunks of castella all over the house. So, but this is a pretty common kind of thing, and even it's so common that it's part of our, you know, image of Nagasaki's celebration of Hinamatsuri. I got this from a friend, this little display of the Momo Castello again, and then on the shell, which is a common image of the story of the emperor and the empress, and having the shells there to represent a perfect match of a perfect union, because the two shell halves come together perfectly, and those two are the only two that fit together. That's why shells are always kind of an image of perfect happiness and a marriage. So, but that's kind of another part where you see the way that different regions celebrate Hinamatsuri in a little different way. Another thing that's a little different here in Nagasaki, and I think maybe it's just specific to Omura, I'm not sure, they actually celebrate Hinamatsuri on April 3rd rather than March 3rd. So you'll find some places that do that, where there's a different kind of celebration, so the decorations are left out longer here, those kinds of things. And, you know, they also still celebrate on the 3rd too, so it's kind of confusing what's going on here. When is this really? So, but it's a fun time of year, and lots of yummy treats that you can enjoy. Maybe some that maybe aren't so delicious, depending on your taste. But if you get a chance to come to Japan, I would say, you know, right now it's still really cold, so you know, early March is maybe not the best time, but obviously if you can come in later March when the sakura blossoms or the cherry blossoms are in bloom, it's much prettier. It's still a little cold then. It gets warmer. April is beautiful, so anytime you can get a chance to come out here to visit would be great. So.